Hey, good morning. This is Chris, Suarez Home and Finance. We are on Monday morning, coffee with Chris. And so we're going to talk about, we were going to have an expert on this morning, but I started getting sick. So we've got that kind of changed a little bit. So we are going to have Karen Peterson. She's one of my counterparts in this business. So she's going to be on next week. So we're going to talk about outside of the box loans and stuff like that with, again, just like what our topic is now, our ever changing market. So we're going to talk about this morning what is going on, what are the what do these changes mean for you, what you need to pay attention to, all of that kind of stuff. So we all know that the rates have changed. We all know that they are constantly changing. So they go up and down throughout the day, every day. So there's something that I have that I am signed up with this analyst group, so to speak. I have been for probably, I don't know, 16, 17 years. I've mentioned it before. It saves me thousands and thousands or tens of thousands actually on clients because I can see, when things are, when the market is declining as far as rates are going up and so on and so forth. And a lot of times I can get ahead of the game and do that, like in other words, I'll stop everything in the office and lock your rate in before that actually hits live in the market itself. So lately, with all of the changes in the market, I've not been doing that so much. Yes, I watch that and everything else, but things have changing just so constantly that if I miss it by, a hair, then your rate, it doesn't really change all the time. Like by, for instance, 3/4 of a point on the interest rate, it's normally on the cost, but sometimes it has changed on the interest rate and made a huge deal. That's why it's so important. And that's why we're talking about this morning is these changes that are going on and how important it is for you to be ready if you are buying or refinancing, either one. So everything that's happening affects you both ways. So for instance, so let's say, for instance, you're pre-approved. Okay, so great. We've got you pre-approved. We've looked at credit and income, so on and so forth. Awesome. So we pre-approved you last week, or let's say a month ago, and you've not found a house. The market changed, so on and so forth. So you kind of held off for a minute and now you're looking again, all that kind of good stuff. So if you've gotten pre-approved more than, let's say, a week ago, even in the last week, but if you've gotten pre-approved previously and you've not found a house yet, or you still are getting documents for a refi, then you really need to call to do what we're calling a refresh. So it's refreshing your pre-approval, refreshing what you can, what you're pre-approved for, what your numbers are, so on and so forth. So let's get into the whys and everything else. So let's see here. So first of all, I'm going to go to documents. So on your documents. So if we're looking at that, I'm kind of trying to move this in front of me. So if we look at documents. So number one, give 100% of your documents like right away. Don't, give like half of them or whatever. For instance, had a self-employed borrower that had needed to get pre-approved. They found a house. They needed to get pre-approved right away. Well, we're trying to work on it right away, everything else to get them set. But I don't have all the tax returns. I don't have all the pages. I have to have all the pages. Whoever's doing your financing, they have to have all the pages. So, in other words, if you are self-employed, you have on your page 1 of your tax return a line item, I think it's number 8, that says other income. So if there's something there that says other income, then you have more pages to your tax return, whether you have a self-employed business on a Schedule C with your personal return, or it is on a separate actual business return, like an S corp or an LLC sometimes is on a separate return. So it's important to get all of your pages, because in this instance, we had somebody that owned a couple of different companies. And so it literally took us 3 days to get all of the documentation that we needed to even see if we could do anything. By that time, is the house still on the market? Is the house still available? The real estate agent that's referring them to me is now aggravated because we didn't pre-approve them within, a couple of hours like we try to all the time. So it is key to get your documents. Self-employed is always a different animal. It is key to get all pages exactly what we're asking for, your finance person is asking for, no matter what the case is. So pay attention to what you're sending. Make sure that those documents are all pages are there. So number one, give all 100% the first time. So just, you're buying a house or you're refinancing. This is a huge deal. There's a lot of moving parts. So take an hour, make sure that you're getting all of those, print out your to-do list. I give you a to-do list. Print that list out and check it off as you go, just like you do a grocery list. It's just as easy as that. If you don't have it in your hands, tangible in your hands, then there are so many different ways that you can get things online now. IRS, you can go online. You can create an account. You can get your W-2 transcripts online. You can get your tax return transcripts online. And sometimes I'll have to ask you for an account transcript, which is because you have payments, whatever the case is. But bottom line is that you can get those things online. The other thing is if you have fixed income, Social Security. Social Security now also, you can go online and you can create an account on Social Security to get your awards letter. VA, you can go online. So VA is a little bit different in one instance, but I have to pull something that's called a certificate of eligibility, but you can also go into the VA portal and get your awards letter. I do require that now because I've actually seen a difference in the payments, that you actually got an increase, but it wasn't on your certificate of eligibility. If you're military, then you'll know what I'm talking about. So again, it's online. Your pay stubs. A lot of businesses, they'll either email you your pay stubs, you can go into a portal, whatever the case is. A lot of times they are available online through a cloud, through a login, through whatever it is. If not, and yes, some people throw their things away, but you do need to have those things. So if you throw it away, I'm so sorry, but you're still going to need to get it for me. And you need to make sure that it's all the pages. So if you are supposed to get 30 days of pay stubs, don't give a year ago. I've had people do that. I need today's 30 days pay stubs. That is important. So pay attention to what you're sending. If you're not sure of what a document is on that list, then ask. Ask your financial person. Hey, what is this? Is this something that I need? Again, so important. If you don't know, then ask, just like you tell your kids. If you don't know, then ask. We're here. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to help you. All of the above, all the time. So make sure that you are definitely asking. Are your documents clear? So can I see all of your pages? Can I see your numbers? So let's say your pay stub. So you took a picture with your phone and you sent me a copy of that, but whenever I get it, it's not clear. So if you have to take a picture, there is something that's called cam scanner that we use all the time. I love it. But a lot of whoever's doing your financing, they'll also have portals to where you can upload just like we do. So in my application, you can actually upload a picture as a PDF. But again, make sure that it's clear. Look at that picture. Just like if you're going to, take a picture of your family member and you want to print it, is it clear so that you can actually see who they are? So make sure that your documents are clear. Make sure that you have 4 edges of a document. Make sure that you can see all edges of the document. If you have one of 8 pages, make sure that you have sent 8 pages in. Doesn't matter if it's blank, it's still needed because we don't know what that is on that 8th page. It has to be there. So again, if you've gotten pre-approved or if you're getting pre-approved, this is so important. The urgency of documents are so important right now because, for instance, if we pre-approved you a week ago, rates have changed today. So you may have been pre-approved for a dollar amount last week, but this week rates have changed and you may not qualify for the same amount. So get your documents all in order, all at one time, very clear, very precise. Do your checklist, ask the questions. So next thing is I went the wrong way. We're going this way. So next is your credit. Okay, so on your credit, it is again so important. So again, in this, the whole reason for this podcast is what all of these changes in the market and what do you need to be aware of. So credit, are your balances and your payments still the same as whenever you were pre-approved? So in other words, if you had a Capital One credit card and the balance was $2,000 and your monthly payment was $50, did you just go and buy a whole bunch of Christmas presents? In this scenario, it's not Christmas yet, oh my God, but did you just go and buy a whole bunch of stuff on that Capital One because you had the room on there and now your balance has doubled, your payment has doubled? That can make you not pre-approved anymore. So be careful of what you're using. Be careful of what you are, those balances. Be conscious of those things. So whenever we pull your credit, I don't know how everybody else does. I can't speak for everybody else, but whenever we pull your credit, we actually send you a copy. We go over it with you, but then we send you a copy of your credit report. It's called a consumer report. Go over that, make a note, print it out, whatever it is. But whatever is on there is as of your last statement. If those balances have actually increased from whenever we pulled it or before we pulled it and it's just not shown yet, then let your finance person know, because that could be a make or break deal. That could kill you. You may not be qualified anymore. So I use the formula, whatever you want to call it or whatever, all the time. For every $10,000 of a loan amount, whatever it is about $55, give or take, depends on your interest rate, a month. So if you just increased that credit card payment by, let's say, $150, that could be over $20,000 in a purchase price or a refinanced loan amount. That's how huge it is. So make sure that you're paying attention to those things. Next thing is did you receive anything in the mail that is saying, oh my God, you owe on this bill? I just had that happen with two people. Is waiting for houses to be built. They have a contract, they put their deposit down, we're waiting on the house to be built in order to close. All of a sudden, oh my gosh, a collection came up on the credit report. Well, collection companies normally are calling you and sending you stuff in the mail or whatever, but now we don't know if we're going to be able to close, because now you have to go and you have to get that collection off of your credit report. We had somebody that just recently that they did have a late payment come up. We instructed them what to do. It's called a goodwill thing. They called the credit card company and did their deal. The credit card company, which I was very, very surprised because it was a Capital One, they actually removed the late. Oh my God, thank goodness, because we've been working on with them for probably over 6 months, and we were already under contract and getting ready to go, or we were looking and they were looking at houses to put contracts in. So they did their due diligence. They did what we told them to do, what we suggested to do, and that it works sometimes, not all the time. Their credit scores came back up. The other scenario, that's what they're working on. So collection came up. Oh my God, so important to watch your credit during this process. You could blow it all up all in an instance. The other thing is, have your credit scores changed? So if we're pulling your credit report today, for instance, we pulled it 2 weeks ago. Whenever your credit is pulled, I always suggest to go online to Credit Karma or one of those things that you look at all the time and see what your credit scores are on there. Also, a mortgage credit report, the scores are more it's looked at differently because it's a financial responsibility than the internet credit, but you can still use it as a tool. So if I pulled your credit and it was a 700, go online to Credit Karma or one of those and it may say 750. It's just a number, but it's a guide. So if it's 750 today, or say for instance 2 weeks ago, whenever we pulled your credit 2 weeks ago, even 2 months ago, you write down what your score was on Credit Karma or whatever, because that's your tool. So if you go in, say 2 weeks later, so we pulled credit 2 weeks ago, we go in today, Credit Karma 2 weeks ago was 750, we go in today, it's a 700. Oh my God, your credit score just dropped by 50 points. That is huge. Why? Did you increase your debt? Did you have a collection? Whatever. Again, that could kill your whole loan. The other thing is that, let's say, for instance, if I did have a 700 credit score for you, and you just saw your credit report, your credit scores drop by 50 points, then when then that can make your rate increase drastically, because your credit score now is 50 points lower, which is a 650 range. Anymore, which I did a video on it a while back, if your scores are below 680 and 700, your rates and points are definitely much higher than somebody at a higher credit score. Or I won't say much higher, but they are definitely higher. So it is so important to make sure that you are watching your credit. So again, whenever your credit is pulled, go to the Credit Karma, Equifax, whatever you use, jot down what your scores were there at that date, that moment in time, and make sure that they don't go below that. Always increase, absolutely, but make sure that they don't go below that. Total key. Can just totally, cancel your whole pre-approval. Now you can't find a house. Detrimental, the whole thing. Everybody's worked so hard to get you here, and now all of a sudden that happened. So be aware. Okay, so the next thing is we have assets. Assets are a big deal. You got to have money to buy a house. So we talked about it before. So even if you have a VA loan with 0% down, USDA 0% down, or down payment assistance, you still have to have money up front. If we got you going and you got pre-approved, you obviously had some kind of money of some sort to get you to the point that you were pre-approved. Don't spend that money. You have to have it to buy a house. If something came up and you had to spend that money because your child got sick or you got into an accident or whatever, call your finance person, call us, say, hey, this is what happened. What do I need to do? This is what the plan is. This is when I'll have the money, so on and so forth. That's just for the upfront cost. That's for your escrow, your appraisal, your home inspection, those kind of things. You still have additional. You still have your down payment if required for the loan. You still have your closing cost. Whether you're getting a gift, whether you ask for seller concessions, whatever it is, you may have to have reserves, meaning that you're depending on your situation. Sometimes it's because you own an additional home. Sometimes it's because your credit scores. Sometimes it's because your credit profile. It just all depends. But sometimes you need what's called reserves, meaning a month or two of your total mortgage payment in the bank, even after we close. Not that we're going to use it, but you have to have it in there. And so you can't use that money if we are needing that for you to buy a home or to refinance. I've had refinances that I've had to have reserves also. Again, totally depends on your situation, but you need to be aware of those things so that you know, okay, do I need to take this money for the house, and do I need to put it in a savings account? Whatever you need to do, ask for the best direction, the best advice to what you need to do with your money, where you need to put it, whatever the case is. Conversation, total conversation. The other thing is any large deposits and moving money around. Don't move money around. Don't move money around until it's time. If you move money around, then even if you gave me a bank statement today and you moved money around, you closed an account, you open an account, you're going to have to get me more paperwork. If you have to, fine, conversation. But if you can help it, don't move money around. It causes more problems because then you have to have a bank statement, and then you have to have a transaction history, and so on and so forth. And so many people get frustrated about that. But again, don't move money around. I've said it before. I would be my worst client. We have 3 companies, and then we have our personal. We move money around. So I totally get it. I'm totally empathetic to that. But I'm telling you, please don't move money around. So that is, those are things that with this market, you need to totally be ready, prepared, knowledgeable. Do you have everything that you need to have? It has the interest rates changed to where that now you don't qualify. Now your pre-approval amount went from 250 now to 225 because the rates have changed. and the other thing is too, is that, you can't always lock an interest rate up front. You can, but you can't. Um, what if I don't have everything from you, and if I'm still waiting on things? The other side of that is, if we locked your interest rate today, and it has happened, you don't find a house for 60 days, then your interest rates could change. What if they went better, whatever, which again, we're not kind of looking at that. And again, it's a case by case basis. But in order to have your interest rate at the best possible for the time period, everything else, make sure that you have everything that you need, make sure that things are not changing, make sure that you are aware, make sure your documents are clear. It will make a happier process for you, because I'm saying me in this case, I won't be asking you to resend and resend and resend. Just take a second to look at what you're sending. Take a second to look to see, is it clear? Again, do I have all edges? Is this the most recent state bank statement? Is this the most recent pay stub? Again, go back to awards letters and fixed income, whether it's pension or whatever. I know a lot of people don't get a pension letter, but you can call and they can send it to you. If you're, a lot of times people will say, well, I don't have my W-2s, my accountant didn't send them back to me. Well, then call them, because if you gave them to them, they should have them to give back to you. I see it all the time. One other thing, as far as IRS is concerned, a big thing that just happened. Again, I can give you scenarios all day long. We have somebody that they mailed their tax returns in. Well, my accountant in the past, a past accountant has done this with me, is that they gave me my taxes and said, okay, mail them. I'm in business. I've dealt with IRS. So I made sure that I sent them overnight with a signature required, so on and so forth, so that I knew it was in their hands. If you are mailing tax returns, then make sure that you're doing it priority or overnight, something to where you have something that they received it. If not, then you may have to go to IRS office and have them stamp them. It's a big old red stamp. You take 2 copies with you, you have them stamped. I'm sorry, but you do have to have filed returns in most cases. So make sure that you do, you have those, um, that you have filed them. And so whenever you're being asked, do you have 2 years of filed returns? Yes. Well, that's kind of meaning that, do you have proof of them? Anything that we're asking, do you have proof of it? That is the same across the board, no matter what it is. And so, again, just make sure that you have everything that you need. Make sure that you are aware of what is going on with the market. Nobody can predict, otherwise we'd all be millionaires, billionaires, all of the above. I cannot predict what's going on with the market. I have no idea what's going on with values. People ask me all the time. That is one thing that is not on my wall as a license, is an appraiser. I have no idea. Again, things change. Things are changing constantly. Rates, pricing, everything. So just make sure that you are educated. Make sure that you get exactly what you need to who you need to. Make sure that if you're going to look at a house, does that house fit in the perimeter that you were pre-approved for? Your contingencies that you were pre-approved on, whether you needed gift funds, whether you needed the reserves, whether you need concessions, whatever the case is, do you need to sell this house, or do you need to pay off these bills at closing, whatever it is, make sure that you are aware. Make sure that if you are not sure, then you ask your finance person. Our phones are open, our text is open, our email, all of the above. Whoever you're dealing with financing should be the same. Communication, again, is key. So wanted to give you this update, wanted to explain to you what is going on, wanted to just reiterate the importance of doing all of these things. It is key to your success in buying or refinancing. It is key to us helping you to get there. It is key to having this process a lot smoother, a lot happier. We want good reviews. I thrive on reviews. We want those reviews that we did an awesome job and we educated you and we communicated with you well and we told you what to expect. We want that. That is how that you grow. So we are on a mission to grow. We are on a mission to take care of our clients. We are on a mission to educate you, all of the above. So, and we are on this mission with you to buy a home and or refinance. So we are in it with you. We care about you. And so that's why I'm doing this, is to update you in what's going on. And so I hope this helped. I hope you pay attention, and I hope you do all the things that you need to do in order to make your process much smoother. So I hope that you all have a great week. We are here if you need us, or when you need us, rather. Again, if you're using somebody else, maybe you're in a different state or whatever. If you're using somebody, make sure and communicate. Make sure and do what you're asked to do, so that you're not asked just for the hell of it. So you're asked for a reason. So hope you enjoy your week. Join us next week. We've got uh, Karen Peterson is going to be on with us. I've had a Karen Peterson in the past, but she's with the title company. This is one of my counterparts as far as lending is concerned, and as far as different options and loan options and stuff like that, again, with this changing market. So I hope you have a great week. Thanks for joining us on Coffee with Chris. Make sure and share us with your friends, family, your clients if you're a real estate agent, if you're a title company, whatever business that you're in. Hello, real estate financing, that's what we do. So have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Bye. If I can find the thing.